to overtime. Dwayne Wade right at the body of Anderson Varejao. Welcome to your Kodak moment, Anderson Varejao.
Doncic pulls up, three-pointer. Bang! Bang! It's good! Doncic wins the game at the buzzer!
And with that being said, let's move on to probably my favorite part of this week, the NBA draft, which starts tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern. I am so stressed. I cannot overstate how stressed I am for this. It is hell. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. Yeah. I mean, look, let's just start at the top. The Wolves are obviously Anthony Edwards or LaMelo Ball. That's how it's been for the past, dozen weeks. But it's looking more likely that it's Edwards over Ball. Which is something I approve. I mean, I really just don't want to see LaMelo Ball or Precious Achiuwa on the, oh god damn it, Spain is thrashing Germany. All right, well, I really don't want to see LaMelo Ball on the Timberwolves. I mean, I've just done more and more research and more film watch of Anthony Edwards and of LaMelo Ball. And I'm not saying that LaMelo Ball is bad by any means. I'm just saying that, before I was stressing how he's the one player in this draft that has one incredible skill that, is at an extreme level. Other than that, he doesn't have much. He's a very good ball handler. He can't shoot the ball for shit. He has a decent floater game, but he also takes it where he should be taking pull-ups because he's scared to take pull-ups. And if all you're shooting are floaters, can't really guarantee a great conversion percentage unless your name is Brandon Clark. Come on, man. His defense off ball, he takes risks and they sometimes work out because he's an incredibly smart player. Okay. He also ranked literally the worst defender in the NBL at stopping the pick and roll, which is the most run play in the NBA. Now, I don't think LaMelo Ball is going to be a bust. I'm not going to be one to say that. I think there are definite red flags with LaMelo Ball. And after I heard that the Timberwolves had red flagged Tyler Hero's father from last year, it just made sense that they would have next to no interest in dealing with LaMelo Ball and LeVar Ball as part of that. Now, Anthony Edwards has his own issues. I did a bit of film study and put it on Twitter recently. He has serious issues with consistency. But I have more faith in him than I did Andrew Wiggins. And let me explain why. Anthony Edwards can, at least every shot he was taking was contested. And he lacked some of his IQ. There was one game where they were down 3 and he went for a layup and got fouled on the attempt and made both free throws. But even then, you're down 3 with 16 seconds. Why are you going for 2? And they lost that game. Georgia lost a lot this year. But I can't really blame them considering they were starting 4 freshmen and had 7 freshmen in the rotation. This was an incredibly inexperienced team. Every shot Edwards was taking was contested, and he was trying to pass it. Now, he didn't always have very good vision, but with the pass in front of him where he saw a cutter, he would do it every time. So if you want to see some screenshots and some analysis on Twitter, follow at 3OTLO. So 3OTLO. So 30TLO. Sorry, 3OTLO. What am I talking about? For that, but Anthony Edwards is my top prospect. I've switched. LaMelo Ball he scares me too much. If there's a lack of consistency for both of them, I'd much rather take the crazy athlete who had to deal with everything going against him instead of the fine athlete who's just tall for his position and can pass really well. I worry too much about LaMelo Ball. And maybe we'll look back in a year and this will be the most laughable take I've given. But I can't trust LaMelo Ball right now. I can't do it. And I'm sorry that I can't, but that's just how it is. Speaking of LaMelo Ball, the Warriors interviewed him again. Now, this is a very interesting fit. I mentioned the thing about the Warriors potentially wanting Ricky Rubio, but there's no way they want LaMelo Ball, right? Because, the situation would be, okay, the Hornets trade up, get Wiseman at 1. I don't think Wiseman is going to be anything incredible, but Wiseman to the Warriors or to the Hornets are the two options. Unless someone desperately wants him and trades up, but I don't think the Timberwolves want to trade that far down. And in terms of who's, who really wants a big, who is it? It's the Wizards at 9 is the only other team. And I doubt the Wizards would, the Timberwolves would want to move all the way down to 9. So, there you go. But how does LaMelo, let's just talk about LaMelo Ball as a whole. Where does LaMelo Ball fit? I made a whole post about this. Initially, I thought the Timberwolves would fit, but that was if D'Lo wanted to play off ball or was willing to play off ball, which I'm sure he is. Just not full time. And if you have LaMelo Ball as off the ball all the time, you have, you're not using him correctly. And I doubt they would have given up a lightly protected first round pick for next year, which is going to be an incredible draft, just to have D'Angelo Russell play off ball. That would not have happened. So yeah, I think, LaMelo Ball, probably highest upside in this draft. I don't trust it as much. Yeah, I really just don't trust it. So I think LaMelo Ball going to the Warriors would be the most interesting situation. I also think it's one of the least likely. Because is there a situation where the Hornets trade up to 1 for James Wiseman, the Warriors stay at 2, either trade down and someone comes out to get LaMelo Ball like I did in my most recent draft, or they take LaMelo Ball themselves? I don't think so. I think there's a big chance that the Hornets try to trade up for Wiseman. I'm not sure about everything else there. But if that were to happen, the Timberwolves getting Anthony Edwards at 3 would be their dream scenario, is my belief. So there you go. Also, speaking of LaMelo Ball, it seems like he wants to go to Detroit, which is strange. He's interviewed for the top 3 teams. Minnesota, Golden State, Charlotte. He's also interviewed with Detroit, who at number 7 is not high enough to get him. He's also been working out in Detroit ever since he came back from the NBL. Oh, he was also seen hanging out with Jalen Rose in Detroit. Oh. Does LaMelo Ball want to go to Detroit? It would be the first time I've ever heard of a big-name player in the draft wanting to go to Detroit. But when you think about it, they're a team that has nothing. And he would certainly be the center of everything they're doing day one. That's not the case for the Timberwolves. That's not the case for the Warriors. I mean, it may be the case for the Hornets, but the Hornets already have 2 starting caliber point guards. So does LaMelo Ball want to go to Detroit? I think it's interesting. I don't think Detroit has nearly the stuff to give up to get to 1, because Luke Kennard is not a fit with D'Angelo Russell. They're not going to bring Derrick Rose back. And, the Pistons would be stupid to give up a first-round pick next year. But there's a possibility. I mean, all I can say is I'm confused. Because does Detroit want to get good fast, or does Detroit want to have an actual rebuild? It seems like they want to have an actual rebuild. But who am I to say? We've also heard, that leads perfectly to Patrick Williams. The Pistons supposedly have a promise to Patrick Williams at the 7th overall pick. Patrick Williams, big-bodied, wide-shouldered, 6'7", small forward, power forward combo. Literally the perfect NBA body. Still improving on offense. Incredible on defense. I told you months ago that he would be a riser. He was number 9 on my first draft board and was continuing to rise. I think now he's somewhere like 6 or 7, but I don't know. Patrick Williams, man. He's good. He's going to be good as long as he doesn't go to Detroit. I talked about this for a while last week. I would be so scared of him going to Detroit because I feel like they would just ruin him. And literally no one wants that. So let me say this. Patrick Williams has been rising like crazy in the NBA draft process so far. Who wants him? Well, first of all, oh my God. So Gordon Hayward is confused about whether he wants to exercise his option, and the Celtics and Hayward both want more time. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Patrick Williams needs to go to a good development team. I had him going to the Suns earlier in my mock draft. Just as another wing that they could use. Who wants Patrick Williams? The Pistons want Patrick Williams, which is kind of obvious. Apparently the Spurs really want him. For weeks he was my pick there at 11th, I believe. Apparently the Spurs want him really bad. So there's a lot of teams who want and kind of need him as a, high potential. He is your home run swing. He is your home run swing on this draft. There's so much he could turn into. And I'm not surprised the Spurs want him. I'm not surprised the Pistons want him, who don't have anything going for them. So Patrick Williams is someone I'm really excited for. He's been rising like crazy. There's your check-in on that. Speaking of the Spurs, they've been looking into wings, most notably. We talked about Patrick Williams. They love Deni Avdija as well, but, he probably won't last past 4 with the Chicago Bulls. So they're also looking at someone who I have as a late first-round pick. That's Jaden McDaniels. We talked about, the Rockets taking a swing on him, but this small forward, power forward kind of guy, defends multiple positions, just didn't fit in at Washington, and has this super lanky body and can score from anywhere. Brandon Ingram, Kevin Durant, we've seen all of that. So the Spurs are taking a shot, is what we've learned. And the Spurs want to move up. But I am incredibly interested in the Spurs trying to take a shot on someone. Because I would have thought they would have gone for the most pro-ready player and just try to get back into the playoffs for Pop. But seeming unlikely. It's seeming like they're going to really go after a high potential guy and say, look, Pop, we know you're leaving. Leave us with a good foundation, please. And we'll give you these prospects and you can develop them. So there you go. There's your Patrick Williams, Jaden McDaniels check-in. 2 high potential wings, one who I really believe in and the other who I believe in less so. I mean, look, if the Wolves took Jaden McDaniels at 33, I would get a jersey of his. I'd be super excited to have him there. I'm not too sure about what to do there. There you go. So the Pistons and Kings, I said they confuse me because they're just making stupid move after stupid move. Let's not get into that. The 2 more interesting stories we have are the Wolves trying to package Jarrett Culver and 17 to move up in the draft, and Atlanta reportedly not moving from where they are at 6th and then at the 50th overall pick. So there you go. Before we get into that, I'm going to get some water, and then we'll have 10 minutes to talk about that and maybe a little bit of time to talk about football. All right, and we back. Before we get into either of those stories with the Wolves and Culver and Atlanta not moving, I really think this Gordon Hayward thing is more interesting than either of those. According to Zach Lowe, Gordon Hayward and the Celtics are, quote, working to extend the deadline on Hayward to decide on his $34.2 million player option for the 2020-2021 season from today at 5 p.m. to Thursday afternoon, league sources tell ESPN. I am so intrigued by this. I mean, look, we've heard that Gordon Hayward wants out, which is strange considering he came to the Celtics because he loved playing for Brad Stevens at Butler. But the Celtics could really get an impact player here. The Celtics could, flip Gordon Hayward and get something real, get something genuinely important. I would love that. I mean, we've heard they want Miles Turner. We've heard Victor Oladipo and Miles Turner for Gordon Hayward would work. I'm not too sure about that one, mostly because I'm not a huge fan of oh my God, of Miles Turner. He gets big block numbers, but I don't think he's particularly good on defense. But does he fit what the Celtics want? Kind of. He's just a mildly better version of Daniel Tice. Like less big-bodied, but certainly defends the rim better. If you think that his, raw number blocks count as much as they do, but that's a story for another time. But I think Gordon Hayward being moved could be hugely interesting because the Celtics, they never let much walk for nothing. Like they had to let Kyrie walk, they had to let Al Horford walk, but they used that money to get back Kemba. So Al Horford, Kyrie Irving for Kemba, vacuum. I'm not sure I would do that, but they got something back for those two. They don't let people leave. They tell people, opt back in. We'll get you to where you want to go, which is something that the Heat got Jimmy Butler to do, and the Rockets were trying to get Jimmy Butler to do last year for a sign and trade. So it's not insanity. But where would Gordon Hayward go that really wants him? At first, I would have said Portland, but, they just got Robert Covington, who fits that team better as someone who needs less touches. But could Portland go all in and get both of the two and actually run out a team that fits well? Well, they'd probably have to give up a lot of players that they don't want to do. I mean, we talked about Zach Collins before and his interesting availability now that they have Robert Covington. But, I mean, we've heard Indiana really has interest. We've heard that Atlanta has some interest. But, Atlanta's GM also just said that they don't want to move the sixth pick, or they have nothing that they would move the sixth pick for. So, I don't know. Maybe the issue here is that the Celtics haven't found someone who wants him on that money, while at the same time Gordon Hayward hasn't found a team that he wants to go to. I really thought Indiana would have made sense. Gordon Hayward, of course, is from Indiana. I believe Butler is in Indiana. So that's a lot for him. But and it just monetarily doesn't make sense for Gordon Hayward to decline that money. He's not going to get $34.5 million to be himself. He'll get like maybe a $20 million a year deal, but he won't get anything insane. And he's still a good player. And there's so many teams that could use him. I mean, yeah, there's a ton of teams that could use him. I don't know where he could really end up. Like, who really wants Gordon Hayward? I can't tell you who really wants Gordon Hayward. I mean, all we've heard is the Pacers. All we've heard are the Pacers, and since then, who really wants him? We heard the Celtics offered Gordon Hayward and their 3 first-round picks in this year's draft for Drew Holiday, but now he's on the Bucks, so he's not going anywhere. So what's going to happen? I have no clue. But, they have 3 first-round picks. They have Gordon Hayward. They have Romeo Langford, Carson Edwards, Grant Williams if they want to throw him in. They have a lot of stuff to make a deal happen. So what should the Celtics be targeting? Well, obviously some sort of big, a versatile big, of course, because, they have to go against Joel Embiid, Bam Adebayo, Giannis Antetokounmpo. They got to go against a lot of good bigs if they're going to make it to the finals. So who are they going to go after with Gordon Hayward and all of that? I mean, let's think of good players on bad teams. There aren't many right now. Like, Bradley Beal is not going to get traded. Ben Simmons is not going to get traded to an in-division rival. Same with Joel Embiid. So, I mean, are they going to go all in for Rudy Gobert? Is that the move? Gordon Hayward and 3 first-round picks, all, only one of which is in the lottery for Rudy Gobert? It would fit for the Celtics as long as Gobert doesn't get played off the court in the playoffs like he's done every year for the past 3 years. But that could be the move. That could be the most interesting move because it would put together one of the better starting lineups in the league of Kemba, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. Who would start at 4 then? Ooh, that's interesting. I didn't think about that part. Huh. Who would start at 4? Wow. Well, it clearly wouldn't be any of their draft picks because they'd all be gone. Wow. Would it be like Grant Williams? Would they want to start Grant Williams? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Having 2 complete non-shooters? Would they insist on getting someone like, Joe Ingles back in that trade? Would Gordon Hayward even want to go back to Utah? Huh. This Gordon Hayward situation is more interesting than I thought it would be. Just because there's really no details given. Wow. Where would Gordon Hayward want to go? Yeah, I have no clue. But among Gordon Hayward, other players that could be on the move, Buddy Hield, the Sixers are probably going to try to get off Al Horford or Tobias Harris, or maybe even both. They're also going to try to get James Harden desperately. I'm putting no stock into James Harden rumors. I would bet that when we come back next week, the James Harden is not going to be traded. Not going to have been traded is a better way of saying that. James Harden is not leaving the Rockets for a while. Even if they are, going to have to trade him eventually, they're not going to rush for a deal right now. There's no reason for it. So I have no worries there. So, yeah. I mean, look, I'm so excited about all of this. I got to be awake yesterday when everything with Drew Holiday and all that happened. Just as, I was going to go to bed, got the text from a few friends. I was like, hey, check Twitter right now. Then it was, oh, cool. Robert Covington is heading to the Portland Trail Blazers. That's a nice move. Then it was like, oh shit, Drew Holiday just went to the Bucks. They gave up a whole lot to get him. Oh damn, Kevin O'Connor is breaking news that Bogdan Bogdanovic is gonna, the Bucks are gonna try to get him. Oh, Woj just tweeted that they got him. What is going on right now? So we started the day off with, Bruce Brown. A few days earlier, it was Dennis Schroeder. And the day before that, day after the Dennis Schroeder trade, it was Chris Paul. So, look, it is so nice for all of this to happen. And I love trade week. I love draft week. The offseason, I'm someone that loves building teams so much that building teams is kind of more interesting to me than watching games. But I love both, and we are set for a great season. And with that being said, follow the 3OT show on Instagram. Subscribe on YouTube. We'll have this up later this week. Watch the draft. 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 Watch the draft.